for another win on the homestand. Welcome in to Twins pregame presented by Treasure Island Resort and Casino. A thrilling start to this three-game series with the Chicago Cubs. Last night we got game 2 with the Cubs coming up shortly here from Target Field. As we preview tonight's matchup, we also highlight one of the greatest shortstops to do it in Twins territory, in Carlos Correa. Yes, he's a platinum glover for a reason. We get all the different angles of what makes him so sharp. The skill, the IQ, the respect from his teammates, the leadership. We go on throughout this very special pregame. This afternoon, hello everyone, as we welcome you onto the main concourse. It's just been wonderful weather throughout this Twins homestand, and it only continues. A beautiful night for baseball. Tim Lautner, Katie Storm with you before we get into this very fun, action-packed pregame all about Carlos Correa. Let's talk about that huge game last night, Tim. The Twins rolling high after a thrilling, exciting 8-1 victory over one of the best teams in baseball this season in the Cubs.
And it was a really good ball game yesterday. It's a good ball game for about 7.5 innings. And then the Minnesota Twins ambushed the National League Central Division leading Chicago Cubs. Really good ball game. Twins threw up 3 home runs in that 8th inning, scored 6 runs. So it's a nice win for this Minnesota Twins. But today's show is a little bit different. Today's show is all about the shortstop that plays for the Minnesota Twins, Carlos Correa. Can't wait to get into this.
The accolades go on and on, and we'll start there with Carlos Correa. It's been an 11-year, amazing Major League career already. He won the Platinum Glove in 2021. He also is a Gold Glove winner, a World Series champ. He was Rookie of the Year, a 3-time All-Star. You see the career defensive wins above replacement. That's ninth best among all active players. He leads all shortstops since 2015 in career fielding percentage. The numbers just back up what we've been able to see already through 4 years here in Twins territory with Carlos Correa.
You know, I remember having a conversation with Tom Kelly a few years ago, and it was right after Carlos Correa had arrived and put on that number 4 uniform. And middle of the season, I ran into TK and he said, well, I think it's pretty a safe assumption that we didn't realize how good of a player Carlos Correa was and is, and he continues to play really good, solid baseball in Minnesota Twins uniform. And again, this show is about Carlos Correa, so this is going to be a lot of fun. He is a really, really good player.
To be great at what you do, you got to have a great pregame routine, and another great infielder. And Justin Morneau joins us from upstairs in the booth. Justin, Carlos Correa sure knows how to lock in and prepare night after night.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about Ron Washington and how he's helped develop infielders and what his pregame routine and how he was able to get guys better across everywhere he's been in the big leagues. We see Carlos Correa and his routine. He's diligent with this. He does this every single day, and I don't know why any infielder across the game of baseball wouldn't have a routine like he has. But he's working his hands. He's working on picking out a hop. He's working on the short hops, the long hops. He's working on the exchange. He works on turning double plays. This is all from short range, but he does this every single day. And it's just simple, whether it's a coach hitting a fungo from 10 to 15 feet away, whether it's Ramon Borrego there rolling him ground balls, but it's all about working the hands. And what does that lead to? It leads to confidence on the defensive side of the ball. It leads to all the things we see him do so well, including the tag plays that he makes at second base. He's as quick as anybody in baseball. Javi Baez for a long time was known as the best tagger of runners when he was playing shortstop. Carlos Correa does this as well as anybody I've seen. Catchers are encouraged, if they're going to miss on the first base side of the bag, and the infielders are told to come up, cut it off, catch it as deep as you can, and throw that tag down. Well, now we see multiple Twins infielders doing it. We see Brooks Lee, nearly identical form to what we saw from Carlos Correa, and I think this is more of a learning through osmosis, learning through, seeing a guy doing something, not necessarily having Carlos take him aside and say, here's how you tag, but watching Carlos do it, watching Carlos be successful. If you want to be a good big league baseball player, you watch the best, and Carlos Correa is one of the best at this, and it looks like Brooks Lee has also kind of adapted that to his game from Carlos. So just one aspect of the game that I've really been impressed with, and it all starts with, as you said, Katie, that pregame routine.
Yeah, and the leadership so strong. As you mentioned, we're going to highlight the impact he makes specifically on a player like Brooks Lee later on in this special Carlos Correa defensive pregame show. Justin highlighted some of those tags at second base. We got to look at more of them because there's been so many big highlight tagging plays by Correa.
Yeah, there certainly is, because he's really, really good down there. Now, when you think about trying to record an out at second base, you're talking about a 3-part play. Pitcher's got to get the ball to the plate in a certain amount of time. Catcher's got to throw a strike and deliver that strike down to second base. And then the middle infielder, Carlos Correa in this instant, has to make a catch and also apply the tag. Well, yeah, he's really, really good at it because it's more than just a three-part play, because Carlos Correa, you have to know who that runner is on first. So does the catcher. You don't want your pitcher thinking too much about stuff like that. But when you know that that runner has the ability to maybe take off and try to steal a base, yeah, you're in tune. The catcher and your shortstop, your middle infielders are in tune to make sure that you throw a strike down there, know who that runner is, know where you're going to be able to position and apply that tag and try to stop the opposition running game.
The absolute awareness, the IQ, we're going to highlight it plenty later on, but a lot of that magic happening at the shortstop position, especially here at Target Field for Carlos Correa. That is also where we find our Audra Martin. And Audra, you know he gets high praises from his teammates in the clubhouse as well.
Yeah, as much as we love talking about it, the fans love watching his defense here at shortstop. Yeah, how about the guys who reap the benefits of it every single day? You could go into the Twins clubhouse and ask every person on this roster, and I guarantee you they've all had multiple occurrences where they have stopped and thought to themselves, darn, we are really lucky to have C4 right over here at shortstop.
He's been one of the best shortstops in the game for a really long time now, and I've always watched him as an opponent and saw what he was able to do, but now getting the chance to watch him every day and just how he goes about his business and how he works, he's a special player. And so now, like, seeing when he does make those spectacular plays, I'm not surprised, whereas before I got the chance to spend every day with him, it was really, I mean, it's still really cool, but like now I understand how he's able to do it.
Puts my mind at ease a little bit, knowing I have not just him, but a whole field of good defenders, but especially Carlos. I mean, he's Gold Glover for a reason. I don't know if he's platinum, but I think he's a platinum Glover for a reason. And I could think of a few instances this year, last year, and 23 where he maybe saved me a couple runs. So yeah, I mean, I make sure to thank him when he makes plays and talk to him after the game, and personally thank him because he's really good out there. That's for sure.
Exaggeration from Brock Stewart. He's been known to track down some of his fellow relievers and tell them, hey, make sure you go over and thank Carlos for that play. So he's keeping his teammates in line when it comes to the gratitude for Carlos Correa. And I also loved what Royce Lewis said the other day. I asked him if he ever still gets surprised seeing some of the plays that he makes. And Royce kind of laughed. He's like, yeah, but I'm used to it. Is that possible? Can you still be surprised at something that you're used to? It's a weird dynamic watching him day in, day out, because you don't know what you're going to see, but you know you're going to see something spectacular. And that is more often than not the case here, especially at Target Field when Carlos Correa is manning shortstop in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, Audra, and I feel like something you kind of get used to seeing is Carlos Correa turning double plays. That's what we get into next, Tim. Turning two is almost second nature for a player like Carlos Correa.
And it's a little bit more than that, because let's face it, he's had quite a number of second basemen that he's had to work with. And so understanding about where he wants the ball, how he wants the ball delivered to him, and to be able to go over that on a regular basis. Yeah, there's going to be some times when he's going to make some unassisted double plays in this situation, but making sure that you have a relationship with whoever it is that you're playing that's playing second base with you. Understanding, both of you, where do you want the ball? How do you want the ball? Do you want the ball on the back side of the bag, the front side of the bag? Those are all the things that these guys work on a daily basis.
Turning two, something that he makes look easy, something that we're used to seeing. Trevor Plouffe joins us now from upstairs. And Trevor, something that we're used to seeing almost too is these plays that you're like, maybe that's out of reach for Carlos Correa. But no, you're right away fooled, because his range just extends ways away from that shortstop position to make different plays happen.
Absolutely, and guys have range in different ways. You have guys like Ellie De La Cruz, who just has that initial burst of speed. I played with guys like Jamie Carroll and J.J. Hardy, who that was all about preparation. I think Carlos Correa is a little bit in the middle. He gets out of the blocks really well, but he prepares. He understands the scouting reports. He understands what guys are doing. Here, these plays are so difficult because you have to know where your left fielder is, where your center fielder is, and you can see he does. He just gets out of the block, really quickly, and then he can make an adjustment of his route on the fly. And what he told Morney, and he mentioned that on the broadcast last night, he tries to center this ball up in the middle of his cap so he knows exactly where to go with it. And it's just really, really impressive. You see there, he's checking where Bader's at, then going and getting it. And it's one of those plays that you just have to be able to do it. And sometimes that just happens naturally. Carlos works at it a ton. The infield range for me, this is where it's all about knowing the hitter's tendencies, knowing the pitcher's tendencies. He's getting the pitches with PitchCom. He's anticipating so well here. Here's an example of Carlos Correa doing something that I think needs to be done more. The bounce pass right there, understanding where he's at, who's running. This play ended the game, so it's not only in the fourth inning, but it's at the end of the game when it's super clutch. I thought this was a lot of fun right here. Does he have to spin right here? No, but Carlos Correa is having a ton of fun out there. We're going to see a little grin from him. And Katie, I got some bad news. Carlos Correa, 3-time All-Star, so you and I are still the only All-Stars that are talking right now.
But we're having fun. We have smiles on our faces, too. Maybe not the same caliber of smile like Carlos Correa, that tracking of the over-the-head catches that he makes, and he makes it look so easy. I still can't get over that. We're just getting started on this all-defensive Carlos Correa pregame show coming up. It's the IQ, especially in the postseason. We have examples next.
The legendary movie event audiences are loving comes home.
Sensei La Russo.
I came to train you.
Sweep the leg. Focus.
There's 2 of them.
It will leave you cheering.
Go get him.
So good, it will knock you out.
How do I look? Ready.
Karate Kid Legends, now on digital.
Guess who that is? Roger McDowell.
Check him out. He
kind of sees everything and knows where everyone is going to be and where they should be and how they should be thinking about a play so they're covered, so all their bases are covered. He sees it all, and he's able to use that too. It's one thing to be aware of all these things and have great instincts and great awareness, but it's another thing to be able to also just simply think ahead, make the play, do your job, and when that one moment comes where you have to display that awareness and that baseball playing ability, that you're fully prepared for it and you pull it off. And it's not easy to do.
Excellent awareness and skill for Carlos Correa. Welcome back to this special Correa pregame show. Glenn Perkins joins us now. And Glenn, when you think back to Correa coming into Twins territory, a big reason why was that postseason experience that he has. And we've already been seeing it step up, which is a huge bonus for Minnesota.
Well, yeah, and it was with the bat, and that's what he was known for. He's always had the good glove. It was the bat in the postseason, but he made some incredible plays in the postseason for the Minnesota Twins as well. And you hear Rocco Baldelli talk about instincts. You hear him talk about preparedness. You're not going to do these kind of things without being that guy. And how about this play right here? Filling in a gap. He sees Jorge Polanco charge that ball. He knows that there's nobody behind Jorge, so he's got to be that guy. That ball gets booted. Carlos Correa, I talked to him about it today. It was just reactionary. And then this one. You can think a play ahead, or you can think a pitch ahead. How about thinking innings ahead? That's what Carlos Correa did here. He set up this entire play before the game even happened, knowing that it was going to be loud in the stadium and that they weren't going to be able to hear him coming. So he went to Ryan Jerson and said, hey, if we have an opportunity at some point during the game, I want to be able to pick some somebody off of second base. So that was planned out so far ahead of time. He had a sign with Ryan. Ryan gives the sign to Sonny Gray on the mound, and they were able to get Vladimir Guerrero. So that's not just thinking one step ahead. That's thinking like, I don't know, 5 steps ahead, 10 steps ahead, however many innings ahead. It's crazy what goes through his mind and the way that he's able to plan out what's going to happen. That's how he can, it seems like he's reacting, I guess, to us, but he's not really reacting. And so, guys, I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for Carlos Correa. What's he going to do tonight or tomorrow or at some point during this season to turn the tide in the game? I really can't wait to see.
Yeah, that was awesome, that highlight. And hopefully he has the opportunity, he and the Twins, have many more postseason highlights. But like that Glenn's saying, it's going to be fun to just see what he could do tonight and in the games to come, every night after night. Carlos Correa, a fun player to watch. And yeah, it's a lot of the flashy plays in the infield, Tim, but also just being in the right place at the right time, that awareness that Rocco Baldelli talks about. And also with that, it's commanding the relays that we've been able to see.
You know, playing defense is not just catching ground balls or pop-ups and throwing the ball across the diamond. It's also positioning yourself in a place that you're going to be able to have a good opportunity to defend, to get a runner out at the plate or at third base. And so anytime that you see a ball go down into the left field corner, it's very obvious that Carlos Correa is going to be the lead guy. Same thing in left center, same thing in right center. Now, one of the plays that you probably don't see very often is that as a shortstop, when the ball goes down into the right field corner, who is going to be the lead on the double relay? Well, in this instance, it was Carlos Correa because he's got the strongest arm on the infield. And so this is a play that is determined before it even happens. Now, you see where Carlos Correa is positioning up the middle at a shortstop position. The ball's going to be hit into the right field corner with Shohei Ohtani on first base. He's got good speed, and he has the opportunity to score on this sure double that goes down. And you see Carlos Correa runs over to the line to be the lead on that double relay because, like I said, he's got the strongest arm. He throws the ball to the plate, and they record an out at the plate. And so these are heady-type stuff, heady-type things that happen over the course of a baseball game, over the course of a year. You might have only a couple, maybe 7, 8, 10 instances over the course of a year to throw somebody out at the plate because of a double relay. And if you can get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of them, that might be the difference between being a wild card winner or a division winner. That's how important team defense is, and Carlos Correa is right in the middle of all that.
Tim, great insight from you and our other analysts already on this star shortstop. Coming up, we hear from Correa himself on his perception of the position.
A diaper this leak-free sets them free. Only Pampers Cruisers 3
Show is presented by Treasure Island Resort and Casino, Minnesota's destination fun. Minnesota 3-1 through 4 games of this 9-game homestand in the Twin Cities. We got Game 2 coming up shortly, and all throughout this pregame show, we've been talking plenty about Carlos Correa's amazing defense. But now, let's hear from the man himself on how he approaches the position.
So I go 4-seam grip on when I catch the ball and I throw it. As soon as the ball hits my glove, I feel with one hand, so I feel with one hand, and when I'm making the transition, I always try to transition into a 4-seam wherever I feel the ball, right? So I'm always looking for that 4-seam grip so my throws can be straight and accurate. And I remember when I was in high school, I'll be sitting on my desk and I'll grab a ball from my backpack and I start tossing it and just gripping it, and tossing it and just gripping it, and tossing it and just gripping it, until it became a habit.
Great throw. Correa ranging to his left. He'll pick spin on target and in time.
I like the one-handed because I'm a tall guy, and getting all the way down there with 2 hands, it restricts you a little bit, and on the in-between hops, when you go with one hand, you gotta move your feet better, and it forces you to move your feet so you get the good hop every time. I never say you get a bad hop. I always say you move your feet the right way.
Yeah, it's special to have him at short. Some of the things he can do with the glove and his arm.
To short, Correa dives, picks, long throw, got him. Good play.
remember spring training last year, we were doing a double play drill, and it was like one of those, like, to first base to shortstop, and I had to go cover first. And he threw a seed over to me, and like I was still trying to like get over there. I mean, I caught it, but man, it gets on you quick. So yeah, as far as his arm goes, it's probably the best in the game.
Up the middle, Correa on the second base side will fire, and he got him. Boy, you need a big arm to make that play.
Obviously a great player. It's been really cool just to pick his brain a little bit, be beside him during a game, and I think he makes you feel a lot more comfortable.
This one flared, shallow center field, trouble. Correa going out. Correa makes an unbelievable catch.
I love to make all sorts of plays, but the ones that I love the most are the ones that you gotta use your brain for, like the ones in the playoffs in 2023. Like those plays will stick with me forever because you're anticipating the play before it happens, and when it actually happens and you complete it, it's a completely different feeling.
I mean, he's unbelievable. He's obviously one of the best in the game. I mean, he is someone, growing up watching and then being his teammate now. He's a leader. You feel his presence in the clubhouse, and he's a winner too.
Great perception from Correa and teammates there. Coming up, we got to highlight one more element of Carlos Correa's skill, his arm speed. We talk about that cannon next. That arm, he can throw it hard.
Yeah, he can really throw it. And at some point in time, when he was younger, he was a pitcher because he has developed really good, solid fundamentals. You don't barely see him drop down onto the side too much, only when he has to. But when he plays his position at shortstop, he most of the time is just right over the top with that four-seamer that he talked about, and he is blessed. It's God's gift to be able to throw the ball hard like that, and he has one of the best, if not the best, throwing arms of any shortstop in the league right now.
Brooks Lee, Justin Morneau talked about him earlier, just being able to learn from a player like Carlos Correa. How important is that a young player, a young star player as well in Brooks Lee, he's able to look up to someone like Correa so closely.
When you're sharing an infield with this guy, with Carlos Correa, you have to be like a sponge. You have to learn everything that you possibly can, because there's probably very few things that Carlos Correa has not seen playing in the game of baseball at the major league level. He's got a ton of experience. He's happy to share that experience. If you're Brooks Lee, you better keep your ears open, your eyes open, ask questions, but be like a sponge and soak up everything that you possibly can from Carlos Correa. And if you learn something from him, you're going to be able to retain it for a good long time, because he's going to make sure that you learn it.
A great Correa all-defense pregame show. Hey, if we had an hour, maybe a little bit more, we could get into just more elements of Correa's game. No matter what, the Twins are certainly lucky to have him in a Minnesota uniform. He and Minnesota looking for a second straight win over the Cubs. Our game crew full analyst booth, including Audra Martin, leads you up to first pitch with more on Ryan Jeffers raking, as well as the late explosion offensively last night. That's next on Twins TV.
Steve's company. I was so inspired by what you were making that I want to do my own all-star ballpark bite, but I'm thinking we take some of that brisket that you make, and I'm gonna do like a little slider. Got the pepper jack cheese, some American, get it going with some of the barbecue.